Here are the top 4 things you need to know before you start your flight training. Hi guys, I'm Adam Valencic, founder and president of First Landings Aviation. Been doing this 15 plus years now. We've taught over probably 1,000 certificates issued, and we've got hundreds of people at the airlines flying. So I figured today was probably a good day to talk about the 4 things you need to know before you start your flight training. Number 1, where are you going to go? There's a lot of options out there with where you can get your flight training done. Everything from big universities and pilot mills down to your independent part-time CFIs. So what do you want? The big schools, you're looking at, being a number among many hundreds of people at a time. Schools like Embry-Riddle, L3, those guys are training upwards of 600 students a year. To most people there, you're just part of the process, part of the production line. The other end of the spectrum, you got your part-time CFIs. Those are the guys, that have a full-time job. They got a CFI certificate. They're out there, just kind of honestly probably looking for a way to fly on the cheap. It's nice. I've found what's worked best for us. We kind of fall in the middle here at First Landings Aviation. We've got a great fleet of airplanes. We've got about 6 to 12 instructors at any given time. On average, each instructor is taking about 6 to 8 students, which is a nice ratio. That way, each instructor knows their student, knows where their lesson is. We're kind of like a big family. We all celebrate the wins. We all help each other along. Somebody's having trouble with something, they can jump into a group of students and everything and or CFIs and get the help they need. Another important thing to look at is whether they have in-house maintenance or not. Certainly it benefits us that when an airplane goes down, something gets squawked, we have a team of mechanics that can jump into action right away, kind of get that plane fixed and on the go. A lot of schools don't have that, which means plane goes down, you're waiting on shade tree mechanic to come by, fix a plane or whatever, or it's going to a big shop and it could be out for a while as they kind of work through their backlog. So all things to consider is you look for the right type of flight school to train at. Number 2, we're going to talk about paying up front. If you show up at a flight school and let's say you're looking at a zero to hero, right? Our zero to hero commercial program is a little less than $60,000. Some schools are upwards of $100,000. Anytime anybody's asking you to put down that whole payment up front, run, don't walk away. That's a big red flag. You can pull up the news reports of all the flight schools that have gone out of business in the past and they've walked away with everybody's money. You have no recourse once they've got your $100,000 in their bank account and they shut their doors. We typically require, a couple thousand, but most flight schools are pay as you go or allow pay as you go. That's what a lot of our students do. And that gives you both the freedom of not having to put a bunch of money up. All right, number 3, we're going to look at efficiency, or talk about efficiency, right? Because it's important to utilize all your flight time as best you can. Let's start with how often should you fly? You're looking at probably, on average, aim for 2 to 3 times a week. If you can fly more than that, great. It helps with the consistency of training, but any less than that, you're going to have to start repeating maneuvers you do, repeating lessons, because you're not going to retain all the information that you learned 2 weeks ago, right? So we're going to look to schedule 2 to 3 flights per week at a minimum. So plan on a budget that, allows for that, and make sure in between, the biggest thing you could do is study, right? You're going to leave a lesson after debriefing with an instructor in your ground with homework. Got to do it. You can't expect to go from one lesson 2-3 days off and walk in and know everything you need to know to start that next lesson without studying in between. That's one of the biggest pitfalls I see with students that come through is those that don't study end up spending more time and money than they need to complete their training. Number 4, enjoy the process, right? The most important thing is you're doing this, you got to have fun. If you're not having fun, it's a job then, right? And who wants a second job? So, take the time to enjoy the actual flight training process, what you're learning, what your instructor's teaching you, and pepper in some, fun flights. Take an afternoon, go grab lunch somewhere, right? The proverbial $100 hamburger, which today is probably more like the $300 hamburger to be fair. Have a good time. First Landings here, we like to do some fun social flights. We'll take the planes. I know this weekend we're going down to Punta Gorda, right? Having some seafood down there on the West Coast. Enjoy the time you have while you're training, because one day you're going to get out of this and now you're going to be at the airlines flying the heavy iron. And you'll look back on this time and enjoy what you did do here. So it may seem like a lot of work now, studying and having to complete all these requirements, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, who gets to do this every day? So thanks, guys. If you have any questions, reach out, contact us. We're always open to help anybody out in the industry. So thanks. Adios.